Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another DMI What's Up Downtown Breakfast on an absolutely perfect morning. We should have moved this out to the patio here today. But welcome to all of you here live, and welcome to all of our friends on Zoom. Is that a term? Zoomers. I like that. Yes, thank you. I'm Jason Ilster, president of Downtown Madison. And we're here on our July What's Up Downtown Breakfast. As always, I'm excited to see you live. There was a lot of energy in the room. A lot of noise. I like a lot of noise. My wife thinks I yell all the time, so I appreciate events like this. We are very excited to have Tom Lynch, City of Madison's Director of Transportation, talking about Tom, a myriad of things. We're quite busy. He says yes for the Zoomers on right now. Before we get to Tom, we have a full slew of new members. So thank you to all of our new members that are joining us here today and joining us on the line. First, we have Interior Investments, the contract office, healthcare, education, beyond furniture dealership that primarily sells permanent homes. Today, they're represented by Jenna David. We also have Jamaica Fair Trade LLC, a company that works with small Jamaican farms to get 100% Blue Mountain coffee. Midwest is represented by Dave Ben. I think we need a DMI trip down. Maybe February. The Lakefront Porch on Wilson, a project at Carly Station, aims to transform the existing public structure into an accessible, engaging community space for a broad range of downtown events in neighborhood, represented by Emily Leonard Auction and Appraisal, a company that connects the global market to buyers, curated catalog auction blocks. It makes it easier to buy and sell quality. It's represented by Laura Promega, leader in innovative solutions, technical support, life science, represented by. And last, Wisconsin Housing Preservation, just a few blocks away, a nonprofit with a mission to preserve, provide, and protect affordable housing for low and moderate income citizens in the state of Wisconsin, represented by. And I will note that our next New Faces, New Places in just 2 short weeks will be at Wisconsin Housing Preservation Corporation, just a few blocks away at the BRX building. If you've never been to the BRX building, I would highly recommend it. It's a fantastic building. All right, so welcome to our new members. We are very excited to have you all here. It's summer. That means there are literally a million events happening at any one time. And any Friday night, there are just literally, I think last Friday night, there were 10 events happening at once. It was Conference on the Square yesterday, according to Susan, the best you'd ever seen. And you've gone to a ton. So we hope to see you downtown all of these events. A couple of highlighted with our great friend, Madison Central Business Improvement District. We have the live and local content series every Thursday evening at Lisa East Park from 5 to 7 p.m. August. We have Your Lunchtime Live, which is at the intersection of West Main and Carroll Street, right across the Imagination of Wonder State. It's a great lunchtime concert from noon to 1. So please join us all throughout August. And then everybody's favorite Madison Night Market. The next one will be Thursday, August 11th, the same night as our New Faces, New Places. So you can do it all by just going to our events. So come and see us both at the night market, which is going to again run the length of stage 6 block. For more information, please go to visit downtown Madison. This is honestly just a portion of all of this. Next, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We would not be here without all of you. Our new major series sponsor from a couple months ago. We are so thankful for Team at Carlson, Black, Pelican, and Battenberg. Thank you very much. We're also pleased to have Katie from the team, former DMI board member, Carlson. Who's going to say it? Welcome to thank you.
I'm Katie Nicole. I'm a partner with Carlson Flag of Madison. We at Carlson Flag are so sponsor of this one. We as a firm have deep ties to Madison business, real estate, banking, and philanthropic communities. And we have nurtured a lot of those relationships through events like this and through other wonderful events that have happened here. So we're so pleased to be able to continue to support DMI and everything about it. When I first moved here, I escaped here to here, I think you could say, from living and working in downtown Chicago. I was so struck by the incredible spark that the city has. And I think that's in large part due to events like this and to folks like you. And as a firm, we're so pleased to be able to continue to support that. It's great to be able to see kind of everyone here, have this live event and on Zoom. And we're so glad that we can continue to have these after such a difficult time. So thanks to DMI, thanks to all of you, and we look forward to hearing from Tom Lynch today. So thanks so much. I know.
So for those that don't know, what we're talking about is one of the steps is 6 inches, one of the steps is 9 inches, and the other is 3 inches. It's very off-putting. Doug knows. Doug was up here for years as our former board chair. Thank you, Katie, and thank you to the whole team at Carlson Black. They have been huge supporters. One note I just want to say is to Susan and to Matt Carlson, who came up with the State of the Downtown now 12 years ago. This is our 12th year, John. Yes, 12 years. State of the Downtown is a fantastic report. If you haven't seen it, it's facts and figures about live, work, and play downtown. It would not have happened if it wasn't for Matt Carlson and Carlson Black and Susan Schmitz, the president of DMI at the time. This has been a huge piece for us. So a personal thank you for all the work on our State of the Downtown. All right, we got lots of other sponsors here today. We have Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, the State Bank of Cross Plains. I know Tara and a few others are here. Hello, Tara. We have TDS Telecom. Thank you to Kit and the team. The Edgewater Hotel. It's great to be back at this beautiful facility. UW Health, Unity Point Meritor, and Quartz. Thank you so much to the whole team for all you do and your generous contributions to DMI and to downtown in general. Today, we are very lucky to have a group that works directly in transportation and is helping build downtown and working on some of the major projects that Tom is working. A wonderful partner and a newer member to DMI with a great new office, which I understand is bursting at the seams in downtown Madison. So hopefully you're looking for a new space downtown. I'll get to say that at the podium. Yes, good. So HNTB is our sponsor today, a company that just has really hit the ground running here at DMI and in Madison. And we're so excited to have Jerry Shadwald here to say a few words on behalf of HNTB. Well done. Well done.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerry Shadowald, and I did survive the stairs for everyone online. I'm an associate vice president with HNTB. I've been here in the Madison market for about 15 years. We've had an office here for about 20 years. Recently joined DMI and really excited to be a partner in all the great things that are going on. Appreciate everyone who's put that work in over the last years to make this such a great organization, and we're really excited to be a part of that. When we heard Tom was going to be our speaker today, we were even more excited. It's right in our wheelhouse. These are the things that we worry about, that we focus on. So we jumped at the opportunity to be a sponsor today for the event. Just for everyone's background, HNTB is a nationwide firm, but we have an office here about 3 or 4 blocks over here on Wisconsin Avenue with about 30 professionals. We have a satellite office in Milwaukee with about 110 extra folks over there.
Well said.
We focus on transportation. So we do railroads and roads and bridges. We do planning, we do design, we do construction inspection work, all focused on transportation activities. We've been a partner for a variety of different organizations here in the Madison area. Back in our history, we designed the East Washington Avenue corridor that connects downtown to the interstate and points beyond. We've worked with the Madison MPO. We've done transportation modeling, ITS plans for the MPO. Happy to work with them. We've done a variety of work with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. If any of you have drove the flex lane lately, you're welcome. I hope you're enjoying it. That was a very interesting and great project. I know it's not in downtown, but it's really changed kind of the picture of transportation in our area. So we're a proud partner of that. We've been working recently on starting the Madison Bus Rapid Transit Project. So we've been working with Tom and his staff directly, getting that up and rolling, starting to work with FTA and other groups there. And we're about to embark on another exciting project, locating a station for passenger rail here in Madison. It'll be a great opportunity to, again, bring additional folks to the downtown area, really highlight the great things that Madison and downtown have to offer. So we're excited to be a part of that. Again, really excited to be here, new members of DMI, and really great to see and meet everyone and be a part of the process, and looking forward to working with Tom and some of the other great projects he has to talk about here later today. Again, thank you all.
Thank you again, Jerry, and the team at HNTB. Literally, you're building transportation infrastructure to get in and out of downtown. So thank you. Huge subject for downtown Madison. We have a special treat. The special treat is you don't get to hear from me really at all from now moving forward. You're welcome. We have board member, an executive board member with us, and the chair of our transportation committee, Morgan Ramaker-Kloss, who is here to introduce our speaker today, Tom Lynch. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning. Thank you, Jason. And thank you, everyone, DMI members, for being here in person and on Zoom. As the chair of the DMI Transportation Committee, it is my pleasure to welcome and introduce our speaker for today, Tom Lynch. Tom has over 30 years of experience in transportation planning, and his planning efforts have resulted in almost $500 million of infrastructure improvements across 4 states. He currently serves as the Director of Transportation for the City of Madison, which includes Metro Transit, traffic engineering, and the parking utility. He is an advocate for transferring mode share away from single occupancy vehicles and towards transit, biking, and walking. Hopefully some of you took advantage of getting here that way this morning, as I did. Current urban transportation initiatives include Bus Rapid Transit, Vision Zero, Complete Green Streets, Intercity Bus Terminal, and Transportation Demand Management. We're so pleased to have Tom with us this morning to go into more detail about those projects, ones that were previously mentioned, and how they're going to propel Madison into the future in the coming decades. And following Tom's presentation, we'll be taking questions from the audience. So if you are here with us in person, you can just raise your hand and we will find you. And for those on Zoom, please just use the Q&A function and we will monitor that and get to as many questions as we can. So with that, let's welcome Tom Lynch.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to start off with a little bit of a quiz. What year did cars outnumber horses in Madison? A, B, C? C. I love historic. In fact, actually, a lot of what I'm taking is from, you guys know Stu Leviton? Yeah, I mean, he writes these books. He takes the time. They're great anyhow. And so I enjoy just reading them. It's all about Madison. Next one, when was the Chicago Northwestern Railroad Station open at Blair and Wilson? A, actually, it's B. Man, all right, you're 0 for 2. 0 for 2. What year is one-way traffic around the Capitol Square instituted? Zero for 3. All right, just 0 for 3. All right. When did Madison's first electric streetcar start service? It's 1892. All right, so you're 1 for 4. 1 for 4. You know, actually, there was quite a bit of controversy. If you read about it, there was quite a bit of controversy about the electric trolley service, which is kind of strange, right? That Madison would have controversy over electric trolley service. Just what year were left turns taken off of State Street? Prohibited. A, 1920. Yeah. Now this picture is not from 1920, but that's when. There's a little sleight of hand there, right? How much per hour was street parking when this brochure was published? Yeah, 5 cents, 5 cents. So it's kind of fun when you think about Madison transportation, and a lot of it, really we've a lot of it, I'm going to say for the last 50, 70 years, we've kind of leaned into the automobile, right? And you think about like the Beltline was constructed in 1948, all these, East Washington was expanded, all that. But it has had a little bit of a consequence. If we look at our population growth since 1970 versus our vehicle miles traveled. So our population has grown 60% in America, but our vehicle miles traveled has grown 190%. So we are driving 3 times more than we did in 1970, 3 times more. What does that do? Well, it means that we have pavement limitations. Somehow they were able to squeeze another lane out of the Beltline, right? That was magic, right? But we can't do that on University. We can't really do that on John Nolan. We can't do that on East Washington, right? And so kind of what we have is what we have, right? We're not really adding much more. And this has consequences too. This is a graph of kind of our carbon dioxide. The blue is the atmospheric carbon dioxide, and then the black is our CO2 emissions by man-made. And so you can see that our atmospheric carbon dioxide levels are 50% higher than they were, back when the Declaration of Independence was signed, right? And if we look at our temperature, our global temperature, it's kind of followed that. Some people say, well, it's not causality, and I'm not a scientist. I just go, whoa, kind of looks like they're similar. And everyone has this 1.5 degrees Celsius goal, saying we can't go that much farther. And I'm not a scientist. I just know that there have been consequences. I left as a New York Times article from this earlier this year. To the right, large fire occurrences in the United States. I grew up in California, but I've been here for 30, 35 years. So I'm a Wisconsin person, but I grew up in California, and there just weren't fires in California like there are now when I was growing up. That just my brothers still live out there. Their insurance is way high, and like fires are a thing there. And growing up, they just weren't a thing. Well, our comprehensive plan, which was approved in 2018, it really targets a lot of this. And in fact, the land use and transportation in specific. In fact, the way the comp plan is outlined is it's outlined using strategies. And so there's a series of strategies in land use and transportation. And really, for the last 4 years, we are trying to laser focus in on these strategies and get them done. I think that we probably have more going now in the last 4 years than we have in the last 20. East-West BRT, transit network redesign, all initiatives we're trying to do, consider equity, intercity bus, Amtrak station, transportation, transit-oriented development overlay, transit network redesign and BRT, complete streets, Park Street corridor, and then Vision Zero and complete streets. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those. I'll start probably with bus rapid transit. I like to remind people why are we doing this? This is I love this graphic. Here's 200 people and 177 cars, right? And this is those same people without cars, right? That's the same number of people on 3 buses. See, so if we want to get more people downtown, we're going to have to probably get them downtown in ways other than cars, right? This is a lane. This is how much lane mileage is required if we transport people downtown in cars. That's in the blue. That's to the right. That's how much lane mileage we need on East Washington Avenue to transport 80 people by bus. So you can just see it's just a lot more efficient. Our East-West BRT is it's going to connect a lot of people. 120,000 jobs are going to be within a 10-minute walk. That's a lot, 120,000 jobs. 80,000 residents, 3 hospitals, 2 higher institutional education institutions, and then 4 higher education. I'm not saying it right, but you know what I mean. Colleges, right? I'm just gonna say colleges, all right? 4 with the complimentary service. The red that's shown on this is going to be our east-west service, and we're moving forward. In fact, our early works, we are advertising for bid in 3 weeks for our early works package. We hope to be on East Washington this fall, doing some of the preparatory work for bus rapid transit. Our consultants are, working really hard. Our main BRT package will be bid in October, and it will be awarded in January. And so 2023, by this time in 2023, it's going to be hard to get around town. It already is hard. Maybe, I don't know. But so that's going to be, $65 million worth of road improvements and station designs. We also have received a recent grant from the FTA that we can start planning for the north-south bus rapid transit. So we'd like to pick a consultant by the end of this year, submit our small starts application by late 23, and enter project development by 23. So we would like to be right on top of the east-west with the north-south. So this means, for downtown, it means 5-minute service. You don't have to check a schedule on when the next bus is coming, because the next bus is always coming, and it's there on the weekends. They will connect key employment areas. You can see how the isthmus, has a high density university, and the isthmus has a high density of employment. But it's nice if you could, American Family, for instance. American Family has multiple locations, and they have to drive between them. It'd be nice if they could just get on the bus and go to their other location. And actually, with BRT, they'll be able to. This is what it'll look like in front of 4th Street. My kids went to East High. Any East Siders here? Yes. All right. Good. This is what it'll look like basically downtown. We'll have 2 downtown stations. We won't be using them for farmers market and festivals and all that. So don't. We'll have some alternate stations, but this is what it will look like. If you go out there, on a cold November day, you'll be at a station, a nice station. This is what it'll look like on Regent Street. So we have 32 of these. They're going to be high quality. They're just going to be kind of, the way you will want to get around. Let's look at the transit network redesign. This was a huge project, and it received a fair amount of attention. Did any of you read anything about this? Just wondering. Any change is hard, right? And but the one thing about change is that if you don't change, then you're not changing, right? And we needed to change. Here's some reasons why. In 1998, we kind of went to the transfer point system, right? So basically, if you were kind of on the outskirts or whatever, instead of going direct downtown, because all buses used to go downtown, and that's where you'd make your transfer. But that limited how much we could cover. So we went to the transfer point system. And then you'd go to the transfer point, and then you'd go from the transfer point then downtown or to the university or wherever your job was. And it allowed us to expand our coverage, but it did make for longer travel times, and it required more transfers. And it affected different people differently, right? So an example is our onboard survey from 2015. African Americans had to transfer 3 times more frequently than white riders. 3 times. So, we always, I'm kind of on the Near East side, and so my bus always, I didn't have to transfer, right? But if I wasn't on the Near East side, I'd have to transfer, and I have to transfer every day, going and coming, right? And it affects people differently, because our buses are 95% on time. 95%, but that means that 5% of the time they're not on time, which means you miss your transfer, right? So that means once every 2 weeks, right? you're going to miss your transfer and you're going to have to wait another 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And that's not fair. It's not fair that some people have to have that and others don't. And so these are some of the reasons why we said, let's do something about that. You don't change unless you change, right? Also, our current network was really oriented towards traditional jobs. We had huge amount of ridership going downtown, for their 8 o'clock job and then going back home for their 5 o'clock job. But if you worked at Quick Trip and your shift started at 11, you had a third of the transit service available to those who had their jobs start at 8. That's not really fair either, So what we want to do is we kind of want to even it out. We want to make it a little bit more fair. And so this is the resulting plans network. Most portions of our network will see better access. So the green, this is really washed out. Actually, I should have used a better graphic, right? The green basically means that if you live there, you have better access and more access to more jobs and services. The red means that you might have slightly less. Okay. Now we've made some modifications. There were 14 amendments due to public involvement so that we could make some of those areas that are pink or red, green. Okay. So we believe that this will turn out well. Right now we're in the middle of a Title VI analysis just to check this, and then we'll be actually implementing this relatively soon. June of 23. This is an example of an estimated travel time. We did this for a couple of things, but Northport to Packers to the Pick and Save. So you'd basically, it would take 31 minutes, right? You'd walk, you wouldn't have to walk that far, but then you'd get on Route 17 and then you'd have a transfer and then you'd get on Route 21 and then you'd have to wait. Well, with the draft plan, it's an 18-minute trip, but you have to walk a little bit farther. You can see how the yellow is a little bit farther. We believe that most people are willing to walk just a little bit farther if they can have more reliable service, in the evenings and on the weekends, more consistent. Capital improvements spring of 23, and then implementation, like I said, a soft rollout will be June 23. There will be bugs in this, right? Because there will be bugs, but we'd like to work out those bugs in the summer so that when the students come back in the fall of 23, we're all set. Intercity bus terminal. In fact, I'm working with Epstein Ewing on this. We had a RFP for kind of a mixed use development that includes reconstructing the Lake Street garage, creating an intercity bus terminal, and then also doing some student housing. And we right now are in negotiations with Mortensen and working through the committee structure. This is a rendering of their proposed development. I don't know if you can see it, but there's you can see, here's the bus terminal exit right there, parking entrance. We're trying and hoping to activate the front of that right now. Right now it's just a concrete parking garage. We'd like it to be something more than that, right? It's really a public-private partnership. This is what it would look like if you were a drone. I guess none of us are drones, but but it's I think it'll be a nice process. So I believe I get schedules. I have so many things. We have so many things going on in the schedules, but I believe this is kind of a 2026 thing that we would hoping to get this done. Let's move on to passenger rail. So the first passenger rail entered Madison in 1854 on the west side of Madison. And the Chicago Northwestern constructed the line in 1864, crossing the Monona Bay. So any of you drive on John Olin Drive? Yeah. So yeah, so you look right there to the side. Those 1864. How did they do that? Do you ever wonder? If you were an engineer, you'd say, how did they do that? They didn't have gas engines. How did they do that? And then, there was various East Side depots. You saw one earlier. This, the one that currently still exists, was constructed in 1910. So there you can see there's the MG&E building. Well, that MG&E building actually used to be the depot, the Northwestern depot, right? So the last passenger rail ran to Chicago July 21st in 1961. So it's been 60 years since we've had passenger rail in Madison, 60 years. So the bipartisan infrastructure law provides $102 billion for passenger and freight rail, a 561% increase over current levels. Okay, so our opportunity, we had one opportunity about 10 years ago, right? But if there's ever a time for us to get passenger rail, it's now. You know, so we kind of lost the opportunity 10 years ago. We don't want to miss the opportunity this time. This is Amtrak's Connect US, and you notice that the light blue line, brings service to Madison, and then eventually I think they'd like it to go up to the Twin Cities. So the Midwest Regional Plan, the final report was in October 2021, and this is kind of their schematic, but this is a quote right out of it. From this assessments, Milwaukee and Madison were determined to be significant markets critical to the operational viability of a core express corridor between Chicago and Minneapolis, St. Paul, and should be included on any mainline route alignment. So Midwest Rail Plan feels like this is important. Amtrak feels like this is important. What are we doing? So we have a small contract with HNTB to locate a passenger rail service, and we also have requested some more money in the budget this year. We'd like to identify a feasible, locally preferred passenger rail station location that could host Amtrak's Hiawatha service. And that's what this is. This is not high-speed rail. We already know what high-speed rail, what happens to high-speed rail, right? This is an extension of a highly successful Hiawatha line. It's conventional passenger rail that still connects us to Chicago and Minneapolis. Right? We'd like it to aid entry into the Federal Rail Administration's corridor identification program. And right here, you can see this is the letter that Mayor Sacha sent, and she coordinated with Watertown and Pewaukee. And we want to build a partnership of cities that just get Madison, service to Madison on the table and then, on their books. So that's exciting, but it's still a long haul. We've already walked this road, right? And we know what can happen. So these are the previous station locations. So we're going to relook at these. It probably won't be very controversial at all. Yeah, everyone's going to come to an agreement on one location. All right, moving on. Let's look at transportation demand management. All right, so this is a picture of the Law Park parking lot. Isn't that the best way to use lakefront property? If you go to I talked with Stu Levitt, and he's an interesting guy. So this is his book in the 60s. He says the 60s were all about the parking wars. There was never enough parking. Never enough parking. And that's why we built, 5,000 parking stalls in downtown. But I'm going to say for 50 years, we've leaned into auto use. To the right, that's the Manchester department store parking. It was called pigeonhole parking. Isn't that interesting? Kind of cool. And then the left, that's I-90 and Highway 1218 interchange. That was state of the art, right? That was state of the art interchange configuration back when that. And I'm going to say, we've leaned into it. I'm going to say I have, right? In my bio, I've been responsible or indirectly responsible for $500 million of highway improvements. Most of them freeways, like Highway 12, Verona Road. I work with Larry in the back on a lot of this stuff, But what happens is we've kind of focused on it and we've kind of subsidized it, right? I'll give you an example. If you start to do numbers, right? This is our Wilson Street garage. Okay, so our Wilson Street garage has stalls that are underground. So I'm going to say it's a little bit more expensive, but stalls are $60,000 underground. Debt service on that, a 30-year note, 3.5%, right? Costs us between $150 and $190 a month in operations cost. So it costs us close to $450 to operate a stall, right? And in 2018, our average revenue per stall was $212. It's kind of like farming, right? Yeah. You know, and so, and you know what? The people that are paying for the $200 monthly parking permits are mad that they have to pay $200 for the parking permits, right? But really what's happening is that we're really giving a $240 subsidy for people to drive downtown. So, you know, if I were to say, all right, everyone that comes downtown on a bike or a bus, I'm going to write a check every month for $240 right out of the city treasurers. Would you guys have a problem with that? All right. You would, but that's essentially what we're doing with autos. That's essentially what we're doing with autos. Now, I'm going to say the city, maybe we're not the most efficient. Maybe there's private people can do it more efficiently. And we're working on that. We're going to get more efficient. Let's say it's just $100. There's still a subsidy. You know, and we don't even think about the subsidy. We just accept it as that's the normal thing because we've been doing it for 50 years, right? This is a picture of the Beltline. I took these from Google and I didn't put Google on there, so I'm telling you, they're from Google. So the like the Beltline and those types of things, those are largely paid for by a gas tax, and most people feel okay about that, right? It's a user fee, right? So you use it and you pay the fee and you pay for that, right? But on the right, these are city streets, right? And they're largely paid by property tax. And we have 850 miles of those. So this is a Broome Street, also from Google. So, you know, and so cars are using that, right? And they're using that for free. But our property taxes are saying, all right, we're paying for the places for cars to use, right? Now, this happens to have sidewalks, but it doesn't have bike lanes, right? We're basically saying we built this network and we're going to subsidize this network so that people can use cars, right? And I'm not wrong. You know, I always got my kids through college. You know, I'm not. I'm just saying that we forget that there's a hidden subsidy for auto use. And then this is I kind of live on the nearest set, and this is Jennifer Street, right? And 1/3 of the street is used for car storage. So we are building 1/3 of the street is for car storage, and we're not charging for that car storage. And if you try and take that car storage away, whoo, you know, and so, you know, again, I'm not against this, but we make accommodations for auto. And so what we want to do with our transportation demand management is we just want to even out the subsidies and let the market decide the transportation mode. You know, if you provide accommodations for cars, well, then just provide accommodations for buses and for bikes. Let's just even it out, and then people will make their own choices. You know what I mean? But people are always going to choose the car if we're subsidizing the car. You know, they're always going to choose the car if we're subsidizing the car. So it's really kind of a change in paradigm. You know, I've been a traffic engineer for a long, long time. And basically what a development would happen, and we're having lots of development downtown, right? And we'd have to do these traffic impact studies, and we say, well, what do we do to our streets to make sure that they can handle this development, right? And so we say, all right, we have to lengthen this left turn lane, or we have to do this. And we wanted to make sure that we made sure that our streets could handle the development. And so now what we want to do is we want to just say, well, can the development reduce their trips so they fit on the network that we already have, right? Because we don't have room to add lanes on John Nolan Drive. We don't have room to add lanes on University Avenue. So, Madison's Transportation Demand Management Program will probably be rolling it out this fall. It provides a consistent, clear, transparent TDM requirements, provides a range of measurements to meet those requirements, and is intended to be straightforward and easy to understand. It provides an easy way to calculate requirements and demonstrate compliance. Right now, our developers, they come and they have to typically, I'm going to say half of them have to prepare a transportation demand management plan. They never know if it's going to be good enough or not. And the other half don't. And you never know when you submit your application, what's going to be required. It's kind of this black box of uncertainty. I don't know, are they going to allow this development or not? we'd like to get rid of the black box of uncertainty and just say, this is just real simple. You know, if you add a lot of parking spaces, then add a lot of bike parking and showers and stuff. If you don't have that many parking spaces, then you don't have to do as much bike and showers and bus stuff. It'll be pretty straightforward, self-input, transparent, equally applied. And then the requirement will be automatically calculated. Again, the idea is not so much to limit car use. Let's just give all the modes a chance, right? Transit-oriented design overlay. This is really being led by our planning department. It's part of our plan. The idea is that we want to incentivize higher densities and better development along our transit corridors. And so here you can see kind of the proposed and under construction projects along our east-west BRT line. And these are probably the districts that we'll be trying to incentivize. So types of things is like, for instance, you would get another floor of density, you know, by right along here, so that we don't use up our valuable space, you know, along our BRT with parking lots, but we use up that space with uses, you know, that could use the transit. Complete green streets. This will be coming probably through this fall as well. This is probably modal hierarchy that we're proposing, where walking gets the first priority, you know. So that means that we like sidewalks, you know. Another controversial thing. Buses will get second priority, bikes, cars, freight, and then parking. And so we've had quite a bit of outreach on it. Some people are okay with it, some are not. About 80% feel like that they could live with this, and then maybe about 20% don't like this hierarchy, but there's still room for comment. But we'd like to just say, you know, we're going to make room. When we reconstruct a street, instead of having the same battle with every street reconstruction, we're just going to say, these are what our community said our priorities are, our transportation priorities are. This is an example from, I think this is from New York. So, you know, just you have walking, right? You have biking, you can fit these things, right? And then also too is probably have a typology tool design group is our consultant for this. And the typology is basically where do we have our bike priority networks? Where do we have our transit priority networks? You know, and then we kind of couple that with them. How are we on time? Well, we're okay on time. People are starting to look at me and go, oh no, I'm over it. So that we kind of know if we're going to reconstruct the street and it's on a bike priority network, we know that it's going to have a protected facility on it. You know, we don't have to do the battle. We'll still have to do the battle a little bit, but we know that according to our plan, this is how we think the network should connect. Okay, this is a fun one. Pretend we have an amazing magic machine, just an amazing magic machine. And this magic machine allows you to work wherever you want to work, live wherever you want to live, have a big backyard, makes it easier for you to go on vacations, makes it easier for you to have your kids go to whatever school they want to go on. Okay, just as kind of an amazing, but it killed 43,000 people per year and maimed 4.8 million people per year. You feel okay about that magic machine? If it were a drug, would it get approved? But that's kind of the deal that we've made with the automobile, motor vehicle. You know what I mean? You don't even think about that. I read this in a book 15 years ago and I go, well, that's a different way of looking at it. You know, it's a different way of looking at it. And so oftentimes, you know, when we looked at highway engineering, we kind of thought, well, what's the most efficient way? How do we make sure that this intersection doesn't fail? And we're changing the way that it is. We have become a Vision Zero city, which means that we want 0 deaths and very limited serious injuries on our network. You know, last year, on East Washington, 5 pedestrians died. Okay. That means that's someone that doesn't have a sister or brother or mother or father, right? That affects people, Vision Zero is a strategy to eliminate all traffic fatalities and severe injuries while increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility for all. You may have seen this on our buses. We're trying to lean into this. Our focus is on the high injury network. And so I was just at a neighborhood block party on Saturday. And people are starting to realize that I'm the director of transportation, and they're saying, well, can we get this done over here? And can we do this? And, and I'm here with my beer saying, maybe I should go home, but what we want to do is, rather than kind of put speed humps and all this where people think that they want them, we are focusing on where are people getting killed, where are people getting injured. That's where we're going to focus our investments. So we've got a new Safe Streets Madison program. And, if you're on a high injury network, then there's a good chance that you'll get funding. If you're not, though, it's just more of a quality of life thing. We want to make sure that we try and keep people alive. And that's how we're focusing our investments. We have an action plan. Renee Callaway, Yang Tao, that group, they've done an excellent job. And the interesting thing is that we have our action plan approved, and the infrastructure bill came out with amazing new funding for cities that have an action plan. We're the only city in Wisconsin that has an action plan. So we're well positioned for that money. Here you can see, this is the Vision Zero communities across the nation. So there are some other things going on, and they're actually going to heat up. These are DOT-led studies. Okay, one is the I-9094 study. We would like the DOT to study 2 interchanges on this. One is over off of Milwaukee Street, and then one is up by Hepker Road. I believe that will happen. The Northwestern Road from Highway 30 to the north, that's being led. They would like that to go to the Transportation Projects Commission in 24 or 25. So that's lightning fast. That means they have to have their environmental document done this year, next year. So it's very quickly. And then Stoughton Road South is in 2026. So with that, I'm going to kind of end it. This is a sailboat. I'm now into sailing quite a bit. This sailboat was actually partly owned by Tenny of Tenny Park. Isn't that kind of cool? Yeah. And it's the name of the boat was Solid Comfort. Cool boat. I guess I can do questions for 5 minutes. Maybe not. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Tom. Great presentation. Wow, such great information. We got a history lesson and a glimpse into the future, and really appreciate that in your time today. And as the DMI Transportation Chair and as an East Washington Corridor resident, I'm very grateful for everything that you and your team is doing to move forward so many important transportation initiatives in Madison. So thank you so much. We do have a couple of minutes for questions, so we'll start by hands raised. So it looks like we've got one right here. Yes, Susan. Yeah.
Oh,
We're not
thank you, Jason. Tom, just thanks so much for being our Director of Transportation. It's just, I've learned so much from you over the years, and thank you. This was just terrific because you gave the just a big picture of transportation and how important it is and what's happened over the years. Could you just talk just a little bit about the opportunities that will now be available at those 32 stations for growth and development?
Yeah, so
because that's an advantage I know of a system like this.
yeah, so there's been significant economic investment for BRT stations, BRT systems that have been implemented. I think the longest one is the Cleveland's Health Line, and I think it's like $13 billion worth of investment. There's been some studies too. I think there was one study done of 10 different BRT systems, and 9 of them had significant investment. One of them didn't. So there, there was an outlier that didn't have a lot of investment, but generally bus rapid transit has been a catalyst for investment along the corridors. Yeah, and there's a paper if you want. I have a paper on the economic effects of that.
Great. Looks like we had a question from Christy and then Steve. If you've got time. One more. Okay, you choose.
Thanks so much for your presentation. Great work. I'm fresh off a trip from Oslo, Norway. And oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm fresh off a trip from Oslo, Norway. And so you know where I'm going with this. Wow. And so that city has made some very bold moves. And one of those that had recently been put in place was they made it illegal for anyone in the city center to own a personal car. So they have tram, bus, every mode of shared mobility going on there. And so it was like I got to see a glimpse of what our future could be and this very healthy and fit community. In your graphs of car ownership and how much time we spend in our car, you could easily overlay obesity, all of these sedentary chronic diseases with that, and you would see the same numbers. Do you ever see Madison being able to do something like that?
Yeah, actually, that didn't go where I thought, because Oslo, Norway is actually the only Vision Zero city to get to zero. So you may not have known that. Yeah, so so that's where I thought you were going, but where do you think the gate should be on East Washington? Do you think the gate should be like at Livingston? If we could move more in the direction of like when I look at San Francisco, if we could just get more of our mode share that way. I also feel like Minneapolis, as far as urban biking, they've done some amazing things. If we could move the needle some, right now our transit mode share is, I think, 10%. Could we get that to 20%? Could we get that? Our bike share was at 6%. Now it's at 4%. Could we get it to 10%? Our walk share is at 10%. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So if we have to start looking towards constrained cities like San Francisco. I mean, we can't add lanes anymore. So we have to, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great questions. And I think we probably could stay here for another hour to ask Tom questions, but we all have to get on with our days. So just thank you again to Tom, and I will just hand it back to Jason to wrap things up for us today.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Tom. We really appreciate all of the communication, the activity we have with DMI. If you're ever interested in learning more about transportation, the second Friday of every month at 8 o'clock is our transportation committee. We meet hybrid, and surprise, our next guest speaker will be Tom Lynch, talking about a very specific issue with the Lake Street ramp. So you'll get a lot of Tom Lynch, but join us. I think it's the 11th of August. Yes, 8 a.m. Thank you again to all of our sponsors, to HNTB, who are making these projects happen. Several of them are projects that are mentioned here by Tom today. To Carlson, Black, O'Callahan, and Battenberg. Thank you, Katie, so much. To Ho-Chunk Gaming, Madison, the State Bank of Cross Plains, TDS Telecom, the Edgewater Hotel, UW Health, Unity Point Mariner, and Quartz. We will see you back here a month from today. We have another important city official with us. The Chief of Madison Police Department, Sean Barnes, who is a downtown resident, will be here. So please do join us next month for Chief Sean Barnes. We'll see you at future events. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thank you, and support downtown.